Alright, guys, time for another comic book review from another book sent by my good friend Chris, aka the Mount Vernon Kid. Chris, hope I know you're watching this. Thank you again, brother. And this is going to be a fun one because we're going to be reviewing a book from Titan Comics. And not only that, we're going to be reading something that is actually got a bit of surprise to it, and this is a comic called Mycroft, Holmes, and the Apocalypse Handbook. But it's not just like it's a Sherlock Holmes book without being Sherlock Holmes. The interesting thing about this comic is that it is written by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar who won 6 NBA championships. And a lot of people forget that he's now a legit author and a very credible activist, and he's basically done more off the court than he did on court. Although and that's not to sneeze at what he did off court, because he did, on court. So, dude's a legend. So I was like, really, a comic by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? I don't know how this would go. And this is mostly written by him, although he did get help from another author, Raymond Obitsfield. I hope I'm saying that name right. But apparently this was the vast majority Mycroft of his book. So what is this book? Well, this focuses on Mycroft, Sherlock Holmes' older brother, and he is basically brought in by the Queen personally in order to find these objects that are these very powerful and very dangerous objects that were created by some of the brightest minds of the time, and they are now scattered about throughout the world. And Mycroft has to go on a globe-trotting mission to recover these objects. This is a pretty fun book. I'm gonna say this right now. Not even giving it another thought. This is a book you need to read. This is definitely a comic you need to read, and not because it's written by a former NBA player who's got some of the coolest shit behind him of all time. But really, it's a really well done book. I can't show anything because this is for mature readers. I should also mention that this is for mature readers first and foremost. This is a comic that is meant for. There's nudity. There is insane amount of gore in here, and insane amount of violence. So yeah, keep that in mind. The other thing is that if you this comic feels a lot like if you enjoyed movies like Van Helsing or Wild Wild West, that kind of fun period piece kind of adventure movies with some scary elements to it. This is actually a lot I feel like Abdul-Jabbar watched those after reading a lot of Sherlock Holmes novels. In fact, I would not be shocked if he this also does have a little bit of that Robert Downey Jr. Movies as well. It really does have the some of the Downey feel of the Robert Downey Jr. movies as well. And this does have a lot of just fun. It is just a really fun book. And we always see Mycroft as the guy behind, the man behind the curtain, the guy who is always yeah, I'm the guy pulling the strings. We never see Mycroft going out and doing shit on his own. We never saw that. And you may be thinking Mycroft is some posh James Bond kind of person. There is a bit of James Bond, and I would not, after reading this, I'm I kind of hope Abdul-Jabbar writes for Dynamite some of their original James Bond comics. I would really love to see what Abdul-Jabbar write some James Bond after reading this, because there is a very James Bond, I'm out here seducing women, mostly married women, and there's just some great dialogue in here. There is just some absolute fun dialogue in here that's actually pretty funny. He's not this dry, his Mycroft Holmes is still young, but he's also very intelligent. He's also very quick-witted. He is a character who also knows how to fight. And it's all around just absolute fun. there's just like, yeah, it's violent, it's all around violent, but like I said, if you enjoyed like, excuse me, like movies like I said, Van Helsing or The Mummy, or like those late 90s, early 2000s like adventure movies that had a bit of a kick to them too, like I said, Wild Wild West, or like Van Helsing, or The Mummy, those films are, or even like I said, the Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes films, there's clearly an aura of that. You have like monster, like Frankenstein monsters, you have people turning into goo, you have people like using steam powered weapons. It's so much fun. Like it is clear that like Abdul Jabbar wanted to write a book that was just like, I want to basically make a comic that is just fun and can be, you know, something that someone can read and just enjoy. And yeah, I think he really does set the bar on that. This is a comic that is just, I can't believe it took, like, I kind of kicked myself when I was reading this. I was like kind of kicking myself like, god damn, why didn't I read this comic sooner? Like, but then again, to be fair, it is still a very big pile that I'm going through. But yeah, if you find this comic, please, by all means, go check this out. This was definitely worth checking out. I will say that the comic itself is, in the US, it is $16.99, so you're under $20. Not bad. I do think it's worth it. But yeah, so there you go, guys. Once again, I'd like to thank Chris for sending me this comic review. This comic to review, excuse me. God, it's late and I'm tired. Anyway, but other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.